Hi there, everyone. Thanks for joining me if you're out there. Just quickly introduce myself. I'm Trixie, and you can find me all over the internet or social media at Sew a Softie. And in case you don't know what a softie is a stuffy. Now, my idea is that I want to inspire parents, adults, teachers all over the world to sew with their kids. Now, I've been teaching kids to sew for 30 years, and I think sewing is the most amazing skill that you can teach your kids. You're not only teaching them how to sew, which is an amazing skill, but you're giving them so much self-confidence and self-esteem. When kids actually sew something by themselves, it gives them this burst of, I don't know what it is, enthusiasm. They just feel so good about themselves. So my idea is to inspire teachers and parents to sew with their kids, and I have all sorts of free projects, tutorials over on YouTube and my blog. So hopefully, you can go there and you've got some ideas. If you have any questions today, put them in the little comments, and I'm going to see if I can actually read them, and I'll answer them. Otherwise, DM me. So I'm going to go live, hopefully, for the next couple of months at this time. And each time it's only going to be for 5 or so minutes, and I'm going to talk about one aspect of sewing. So again, if there's anything you want me to talk about, just DM me and I will try and add that to my weekly program. Okay, yes. So today I'm going to talk about needles. So these little fellas here, these are chenille needles, and this is what I love using when I sew with kids. As you can see, it's got this really long eye, which makes threading really easy, and the needles are sharp. Now, you can't sew with kids, excuse me, if your needle is blunt. Now, some people have this idea that when you're sewing with kids, you need a thick, large, blunt needle. Well, again, you can't sew with a thick needle, because what happens is it just doesn't go through the felt, and it makes sewing, well, impossible and frustrating. So then there's this thick chenille needle here. It's really, really pointy, got a large eye. But again, it makes sewing really hard. If you're trying to, or kids are trying to push this thick needle through their felt or fabric, it's really frustrating, it's really hard, and they get discouraged. And little fingers work perfectly well with little needles. So again, these are the chenille needles that I love using. Now, there's different sizes in chenille needles, and it depends what thread you're using. So if you go, the numbers are a bit odd. So this tiny little one at the end here is actually a 24. And this one over here is an 18. So they get slightly thicker as you go along. Now, my favorite ones are the 20 and the 22, and they make sewing with kids easy. That large, long eye is great for threading. And if you're sewing with kids, a classroom of kids, and you don't want the threading to become an agony, get some needle threaders. And kids have so much fun when they're threading needles. I've actually heard of one teacher said kids kept on pulling the thread out of the needle so they could re-thread it. So I think that's good, because it meant the kids could actually thread. Obviously, the tiny one here wouldn't be great if you're using an embroidery thread, and I will talk about different threads later on. Do we have any questions? I don't think so. Okay, so chenille needles are great. Like I said, the 22 and the 20 and the 22 are really great to use with kids. And I think I've remembered everything I was going to talk about needles. So chenille needles, they may have a different name in where you are, but there's one other thing I want to say. If you don't have chenille needles and you just have, different needles, whatever works for you is great. And the other thing I was going to say is use good quality needles and supplies. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be more expensive, but sometimes if you're using the cheap needles that you get at the $2 shops, they just get really blunt really easily, and again, that's hard. So good quality supplies always are great when you're sewing with kids. I'll see you next week at this time. I'll be talking about the different threads you can use with your kids. And again, if you have any questions or comments, you can DM me. I don't think I have any questions, but thank you everybody for coming. This is a little bit nerve-wracking for me, but I just thought it was a fun way of sharing all things sewing with kids. So see you next week. Bye.